Hi, this is Jared Polak, founder of Entre Results, author of Entre Balance, and author of Entre Business, co-founder of Entre Results Academy, back for another amazing podcast. Today we're going to talk about the 5 ways to have amazing collections, or 5 ways to collect your money as a small business owner. Now, the problem is a lot of people do a great job of selling their services. A lot of people do an awesome job of making the sale, but then there's many businesses that have a problem collecting. And I know that every industry is a little bit different, and so some of you, this may not directly apply, but for many people, if you've ever had a challenge collecting, here is some things you should think about to move forward, which will reduce a lot of your pain in the future. Number one is you want to have before we go over the steps, I want to kind of talk about the goal. The goal would be from an accounts receivable position, how quickly do you want to have your money? So you might say we want to have 70% of all our accounts receivable in within 30 days or less, for example. Now, if you want to think really creatively, you might think outside of the box and think, how can I actually collect money before I perform the actual service, which some industries do. But for many of you, the idea here on this podcast is not to revolutionize your whole mind, although part of coaching does that, but really just to be more practical on steps to collect faster. Now, have a goal. What do you want to accomplish in terms of your accounts receivable? 30 days or less, 60 days or less, 90 days or less. You want to have, less than, 1% at 90 days or longer, for example. Come up with a goal. But here are the 5 steps. Number one, it's really important to be proactive immediately. So as soon as you send an invoice to a client, reach out to them, email, call them, or on your email, make sure that there's some type of response that they confirm that they received your invoice. I would start off by doing this with every one of your clients, because what happens is sometimes people don't receive it, and sometimes people later on claim that they did not receive it, because not every business is organized, and so some people it just gets lost, or some people are a little deceptive and say they never received it to begin with. So right off the bat, when you invoice, make sure you get some confirmation. Hopefully confirmation via email would be best, or if you call a verbal confirmation, make sure that's done. Now, what you could do is if you have some clients that always pay that you don't want to do this step because you have such a large client base, it wouldn't make sense for your labor capacity. Focus initially on the new customers with questionable or people with questionable jobs. So if someone's new, you haven't done it, they haven't paid before, start off with them, or maybe someone that hasn't paid as effectively in the past, or something that you're just a little bit weary of. Start off with the process with contacting them immediately. But if you have the bandwidth, contact everyone. That's step number one. Number two is if you put terms on there, just say you have net 15 terms, or they're going to pay you in a certain amount of time. As soon as that invoice is overdue, within 3 days, contact them via email or call immediately, and repeat it every 3 days until the contact is made. Now, oftentimes you may have a department, your accounting department works on this, and so they're making these calls every 3 days. And make sure when they do communicate with someone that they make notes of, one, who do they communicate with? Two, what was talked about or discussed? Three, when will the payments be made? And four, how will the payments be made? And so once you actually make contact, it's important to have that documented, whether it's in your software, your accounting software, or if you have a CRM where you have all your client notes, or at the very simplest, have a spreadsheet, or at the very, very simplest, have a paper document where it's written, and so we know you have that written somewhere. So that's number two. Number three, if there's no response, I know you're trying, so it says until contact is made, but say that you try 2 or 3 times, no contact is made, then you want to maybe reach out to your salesperson in your department for them to reach out to the individual. And I know some of you listening to this might be really small, so you might be all these different departments, but for larger companies or for larger, smaller companies, maybe you reach out to the salesperson who has a relationship and she can reach out to the customer. And that's number three. Number four, if after all these steps are taken, still there's no contact, then it's really go up the chains, upper level management, ownership, let them know in detail what's going on. Certainly, it's good to let them know as you go, but really just let them know that we're at a stopping point. And then number five, after you have this dialogue with upper management, make a decision. Does it get sent to a collection agency? Is there any legal action that is taken on number five? And sometimes sending a letter legally. Well, again, I'm giving you just different ideas. I'm not saying do it this exactly, but if you have a lawyer draft a letter that helps get money faster, or certainly if you do a collections, sometimes people need that extra spark and you'll get paid soon. So those are the five steps for collection. And the most important thing is to be proactive. And the things you do at the very beginning will certainly help you towards the end. It's really about proactivity. Go out, be proactive on collections. These are the five steps. Make it happen and have a better than amazing day.